Obesity rates are reaching a chronic level in almost every developed country, and this epidemic is even more devastating in urban areas. Because of tightly packed populations, close access to basic needs, and easy access to a variety of unhealthy choices, cities have become a breeding ground for obesity. The central theme of social environments for this argument came from the sources Migrant Mother, Dark Side to Resilience, and Urban Evolution. In Migrant Mother, the subject faced the Great Depression, causing extreme distress and allowing her to be controlled by her societal environment of that era. The Dark Side of Resilience has a quote reading, "Overused strengths become weaknesses." This means defensive shields that people develop as a protection from difficulties and trauma can ultimately be harmful to them. The tolerance people build up to their environments may prove to be detrimental to them in the long run. Finally, Urban Evolution studies the effects of developed and urban areas on individual species adaptations. This research can relate to humans as they are similarly shaped by urban areas. Higher rates of obesity occur in cities specifically for numerous reasons. NewsRx Health, a magazine focused on providing quality medical information, outlines 3 possible reasons. 1, a lack of green spaces presents a more limited opportunity for outdoor exercise, which contributes to obesity rates. Number 2, there's an increased access to fast food and limited access to fresh foods, frequently leading to unhealthy food choices. Finally, geographic compartmentalization, or the close contact that occurs in cities because of cramped spaces, causes many conflicting opinions, which can be negative influences. Now, why is obesity a negative attribute? What risk factors are associated with it? Well, according to Stanford University, obesity is correlated with an increased risk in type 2 diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure, arthritis, sleep apnea, cancer, and stroke. Additionally, research conducted by Harvard University's health department says 85% of people possess genes formerly held by ancient humans. These genes allow them to store excess food consumed as fat to protect against food insecurity. In modern times, these genes contribute to obesity in humans. Furthermore, 36% of people in the US are considered obese, according to Harvard. So, all of these factors spark the question, what is the most effective way for one to limit the impacts of urban obesity on their urbans living under obesity levels? Some possible solutions to this problem include developing tolerance, reformations to an online environment, and strong support networks. The first potential solution is developing resilience or tolerance to the problems presented in urban environments. In Urban Evolution by Eric Bender, one of the stimulus materials, the English pepper moth darkened in color to blend in better with the cold, smoke, and ashy surroundings. This is called microevolution, a sign of developed resilience to the problems that threaten survival. This same concept could be applied to obese humans, where they would develop small traits necessary to protect themselves from obesity. However, this solution has a large limitation. It does not apply to humans as realistically, as humans tend to develop much more slowly, meaning that they would not be able to avoid these effects in a realistic timeline. The next solution considered involves making reforms to one's online environment. Rini Chumara, an associate professor at New York University, posits in her publication in the National Public Library of Science that obesity is heavily correlated with the living environment. This theory takes into consideration factors such as walkability, screen usage, and available physical activity options. She concludes that online social environments can be used to predict obesity patterns across major cities. These conclusions, however, are vague and not targeted at this question specifically, as the solution of monitoring online environments can be applied to other scenarios, such as rural areas. This can potentially be incorporated into the overall solution, but would not be an adequate focus. The final solution is to create strong social networks as support. Jeannie Veach, a leader at the National Heart Foundation, suggests that positive social networks as well as physical activity can contribute to lower obesity rates. A study performed on 5,000 children in the UK found that for every hour spent sedentary each day, children were 32% more likely to be considered obese. One limitation of this study not considered, however, is that children with better social networks may be more privileged and have better access to factors such as healthier food, leading to lower obesity rates. This solution will be applied specifically in an urban setting, utilizing the close contact of people to grow these social networks. Exercise here is a viable adjunct solution, but social networks is the main focus of the solution discussed here. After reviewing these possible solutions, although developing resilience provides an additional positive attribute, this is the most effective solution is a positive support group. as it can provide a strong emotional foundation and motivation for healthier lifestyle choices. People who are surrounded by others who support them into making lifestyle changes for health reasons find it much easier to make these choices. One example of this is in the peer-reviewed academic journal by Ilse de Borde-de-Hougy, a professional researcher in the field of health and physical activity. She researches the correlation between safe and obese cities. She finds that dangerous cities have higher obesity rates due to their weaker social networks and high fears of violence. She additionally finds Hong Kong and Cuernavaca as example cities that have very low crime rates and very low obesity rates. In short, people in cities are influenced by their surroundings, as seen in the stimulus materials, meaning bad health decisions stem from fear and depression of living in an unsafe environment. This is connected to Migrant Mother, who was shaped by difficulties in the living environment. It is unrealistic to ask people to move from these challenging environments, so this proposal is a more attainable solution. The hope is that individuals will seek out like-minded people who strive for the same goals and promote initiatives within the city, as well as advocate for positive change. Having a positive support group can help counteract the negative impacts of these challenges. These groups can also provide emotional support. In a journal article in PubMed, it is hypothesized that food may be used as a coping mechanism for the blame and shame obese people face from others. This is detrimental to their mental health, as they need strong social connections to receive the support needed to confront these challenges. Emotional support is a key building block for continued change. Individuals must seek out social networks in order to help themselves through receiving the support they need. This works well with the argument for de Borde-de-Hougy, as emotional support was an important way to create these environments geared towards healthy lifestyle choices. There are, however, a few drawbacks to this argument. To start, individuals must want to decrease their weight and make healthy lifestyle changes. If they are currently content, then no plan would be successful. Furthermore, this solution would be best paired with resiliency to help combat any unforeseen setbacks. It could also potentially apply to rural settings. However, this is best geared towards urban areas. With higher concentrations of people, it increases the likelihood of finding like-minded people in proximity. People may be unable to find support groups. They must first go out and seek others using this plan and work together to create a positive environment. Using social media groups and other tools available, this can be easily addressed. This solution is open to changes and adjustments as needed on an individual basis, which is ideal, as it can be customized to individuals' needs. This will ultimately lead to increased success. In conclusion, this plan is the best solution as it protects from the potential obesity-related challenges faced by those living in urban environments. Thank you. These are my references.
All right, Lucas, how did your research question evolve as you moved through the research process?
Well, originally, my first research question was how people were shaped by their social environments through obesity. But I've learned that there was lots of research on this topic, and I had to narrow it down to simply urban environments, which eliminated rural and suburban settings. Specifically, it also allowed me to incorporate urban evolution as a source, as it is mainly about how urban environments shape people individually.
And what additional questions emerged from your research, and why are these questions important?
Well, there were many questions that emerged from my research. I started with the question, how is obesity affected, how does urban areas affect obesity rates? But even more questions like what solutions had already been introduced for this? There are very little solutions that have been, this problem hasn't really been addressed, so there weren't very many solutions for it. But some questions that stemmed from it were, how can this be addressed in rural areas too, if they're further from grocery stores and they have less access to this kind of food? So effects in other areas, rural and suburban, just outside of urban, emerged from this, but I did not research those as that was not part of my question.
Thank you.